It's official. Kyle Whittingham is leaving Utah football to become the next head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. And this isn't something that's going to happen in a couple days. Kyle Whittingham, he's already left Utah.
You are Locked On Utes, your daily podcast on the Utah Utes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for making Locked On Utes your first listen and view of the day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. First time listening to our show, make sure you like and subscribe. Appreciate all of you for being everydayers especially, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. My name is JT Wistersill, and what a absolutely wild day it's been here in Utah. Kyle Whittingham is not just earlier was the front runner for Michigan. This is done now. In fact, you can literally look up on Michigan's Twitter account and see the Photoshopped image of Kyle Whittingham in blue with the M on his chest. And it is just weird. I'm looking at it right now as I'm talking to you guys, and I cannot get used to it. And it's wild. And sometimes when you get a job at this level, you have to go right away. There's no, hey, let me say goodbye. Let me take some time and do this and do that. And there's not often let me coach in one last bowl game and then go. It's usually you got to go right now. And that's what's happened to Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham is not just leaving for the Michigan job. He's leaving now. He is officially, Pete Thamel of ESPN reported that he informed Utah, Whittingham did, that he will not be coaching in the Las Vegas Bowl against Nebraska. It's been reported. It is paramount for Michigan that he gets to Orlando to meet with his new team and the players' family members to get going on his new job. I hate this for Utah, but I understand it, why it's happening for Michigan and Kyle Whittingham. This is not a Michigan issue. This isn't a Kyle Whittingham issue. This is the college football calendar sucks issue. The fact that there's not one last opportunity for us to celebrate Kyle Whittingham. I still want to celebrate Kyle Whittingham. I know a lot of people online are talking about how they really dislike Kyle Whittingham because there's a lot of reports that Jason Beck is one of the top candidates, and in some ways it seems like the top candidate to go to Michigan. And there's a lot of stuff floating out about how much of the offensive staff's coming back, all of that. We'll talk about that on a future episode. But I know some of you are very frustrated with Kyle Whittingham. I still would have liked one more opportunity to celebrate all that Kyle Whittingham's done for Utah and send him out the door on a right note with a bowl win. Unfortunately, that can't happen, though, as Michigan said, nope, you got to come here today. Michigan does play in the Citrus Bowl in just a couple of days, and they want Michigan to start meeting with the team, meeting with the players, meeting with their families as soon as they can. A reminder about the Michigan team that Kyle Whittingham is taking over. Kyle Whittingham is taking over a 9-3 team with losses to Oklahoma, USC, and Ohio State. So they were a really good team this past year. You don't want to lose. They're very close to being a college football playoff team, right? One less loss, they beat USC, or they just beat Ohio State that last week. Tall task, I know, but they were in. That's how close this team was. So they want to keep a lot of that together, especially Bryce Underwood. That's where we talked about all the Jason Beck noise out there right now. We'll see how quickly that hire could come together, or if they go somewhere else, because the most important player on Michigan's roster is assumed to be superstar sophomore, who's pretty dang good as a freshman, Bryce Underwood. So, yeah, it's official. Kyle Whittingham won't be coaching Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl. As I mentioned, I hate it because I wanted to give Whit one last win with Utah, one last opportunity to celebrate him. But I understand with the college football calendar and the transfer portal, and you got to retain these guys right now. Most of these guys have no idea who Kyle Whittingham is. They don't know the first thing about Utah football. That's just the truth about Michigan. And unfortunately, Utah, we've talked about a lot. Utah has been underrated, whether it's high school football, whether it's their college football teams. Utah's underrated. The rest of the country doesn't pay a ton of attention about what happens out west, unless it's like a USC and an Oregon that makes so much noise that it can't be ignored. Most of those teams and if their fans just focus on what's going on Big Ten, SEC country, things of that nature. So a lot of times Utah gets lost in the shuffle. So Kyle has to get out there now and try to convince those players that they want to stay. And he also needs to continue to put his staff together, even though it does seem like he's done some work on that already. But look, just going back to this whole thing, like, how do I feel about this whole process, how it shakes out? I mean, honestly, I'm not upset at Kyle. I feel like a lot of people are. I'm not. This is one of the top 5 jobs in the country when it's firing on all cylinders. This is an opportunity to win a national championship. This is a better opportunity to win, to make the college football playoff. Michigan's a better job than Utah. And I'm also would be very curious to talk with Kyle about this, because I think there's this just expectation out there. Not expectation. Everyone just seems to think that had Utah wanted Kyle Whittingham back, he would have for sure. And it seems like that Utah thought it was the right time to go with Morgan Scalley, right? Like it seems like that was the case. And Witt has talked about he still wanted to coach, even though he stepped down at Utah, because it does seem like, as we've talked about a couple of times on this show, I don't know if both Morgan Scalley and Kyle Whittingham would have been back on this roster together had Witt remained. Scalley he's had interest for years from other programs, consistently been a good soldier and passed those up. So this might have been Utah's last chance to keep Scalley around unless they wanted to wait for Witt to finish out however long he wants to go. And I know he just signed a 5-year deal with Michigan. I'm curious to see if he makes it to the end of that. This Kyle Whittingham's completely changed, by the way. This is a guy who in 2024 was sitting at a press conference, said, I probably won't be here in 2027. It's been reported he told the team he was going to retire. So I guess just that one losing season just awakened a new fire in Kyle, and he had a really good year this year. And look, and now he has an opportunity to go get the Michigan job. So the whole point I was bringing is I'm not convinced that Kyle Whittingham, even if he was going to say, I'm planning on staying at Utah for another year, wouldn't have been interested in the Michigan job after he's given Utah an unprecedented 21 years. Reminder, it's very rare for a college coach to do that. He gave us 21 years here. So I still absolutely think he would have been interested in this. That's my take on the situation. But I know a lot of people feel like, hey, Utah wanted to go with Scalley. They nudged him out the door, and therefore he was like, well, I'm going to Michigan now, no matter what. I feel like he might have been off to Michigan regardless, for the simple fact of, I know he said no to other jobs before. Michigan is a top 5 job in the sport, especially right now. Like you could say 10 years ago, it's a top 5 job. And I'd go, I don't know, maybe. Right now, there's no doubt with the NIL resources they have in place, it's a fantastic job. And Kyle Whittingham fits that culture, hard-nosed, physical, tough. He embodies everything a Michigan man that they want their coach to be, a Michigan man, without actually being a Michigan man. Is a great hire by Michigan. And I'm not mad at Kyle for taking it. As we said, he gave us 21 years. And I know people are like, well, what if he pillages the staff? Like, he built this program into what it is. I don't have an issue with him if he does bring some of those coaches with him. Also, I'll just say this, right? Like, Kyle is looking at it from, he wants to build the best staff he can at Michigan. So he's going to not offer Jason Beck. And Jason Beck would, all these coaches, right, they might want to go because it's Michigan. It's just call it what it is, as we mentioned. It's a better chance to win a national title. So it's not like Kyle is also just like, these guys have the opportunity to say no if he offers them these jobs, but these guys probably want to go with Kyle to this place if they do decide to go, because it's one of the best jobs in the country. So, and I don't have an issue with Kyle Whittingham going to Michigan, and I don't have an issue with him bringing some of the Utah staff members with him. Yes, it could hurt the program a little bit, but a reminder, this program is what it is because of what Kyle Whittingham built. So I understand if he wants to bring some of these guys with him and try to make it awesome at Michigan like he did at Utah. And I think it makes a lot of sense to bring a lot of pieces from a 10-2 Utah staff over with you to Michigan. And he's still leaving Utah in a good place. I think Morgan Scalley is going to be an incredible head coach. Yes, they got to rebuild the offensive side of the ball. You know when they just had to do that? Last year. They had to completely rebuild the offensive side of the ball. So they got to do it again. Utah was able to once. I think they can again. Does it mean you're going to get Jason Beck and have a 10-2 season right away? No, probably not, because you're not going to have that level of an offensive line that was as dominant as it was in Utah. But still, the Utah is going to be fine next year and still be a really good team. But I'm not mad at Kyle Whittingham for bringing some of these coaches with him. Kyle Whittingham built and created everything with Utah. So if he wants to take some of that to try and build and create something at Michigan while still leaving Utah in a good spot, reminder, Morgan Scalley, a lot of these reports as well as saying a lot of the Utah defensive staff will be in place. I'm fine with that. I get that. Like, yes, of course I want to keep Jason Beck, but if Jason Beck goes with Kyle Whittingham, I understand it because it's Michigan. And I know we want Utah to be on Michigan's level. They're simply put just not, especially in what is this NIL era too. So this is all going to be fascinating, but bummer Kyle Whittingham's not coaching the Las Vegas Bowl, in my opinion. I wanted to send him out the right way with a win. I harbor zero ill will. Jamie Pollard, we mentioned this on my show earlier. The Iowa State AD, when their head coach, Matt Campbell, left for the Penn State job, he said, Matt Campbell owes us nothing. Kyle Whittingham owes Utah nothing. He gave us 21 years. He put this program on a pedestal that it hadn't been on before. And I know we had a flash in the pan with Urban, but I'm talking about sustained success and excellence year in and year out. He created a special culture and brand at Utah, and he decided for 21 years, sounds like, hey, he stepped down. Was he maybe nudged out a little bit? It seems like not everything is perfect there, right? But at the same time, he gave us 21 years, and now's his opportunity to go chase one of the best jobs in the country. More power to him for doing that. I have no issue with it. And if he wants to take some of his staff with him, I totally get that. And I don't think that's wrong of him either to want to try and build Michigan to the best version it is. Well, yes, he's hurting Utah a little bit, but I mean, if those guys want to go, that's their decision. And I don't think Kyle should not offer them the job just because he doesn't want to hurt Utah. He's left Utah in a good place with Morgan Scalley. And now he's going to add some of the members of those staff who are phenomenal coaches, and they have a chance to win at one of the best jobs in the country. I get it. But I'm still very excited about the future of Utah football, and I'm excited to continue to talk about this whole chaos with Locked On Utes all week long with you guys too. This episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by our great friends at Gametime. There's nothing like college football season, the tailgates, packed parking stadiums, and being right there in the middle of the action. The energy, the bands, the momentum, the moments you remember forever. I mean, that's what we love about college football. But how about actually getting tickets? Well, that can usually be the frustrating part. Long queues, logins, and prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Gametime. It gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. I opened the Gametime app, looked at upcoming college football games, and I was surprised at how quickly I was able to find tickets for all the amazing bowl games. Also, NFL is on there as well. All your sporting needs can be found at Gametime. I love being able to see the view from my seat before buying, so I know exactly what type of the deal I'm getting as well. You can take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's all caps, no spaces, Locked On College. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. What a wild day it's been in the state of Utah. Kyle Whittingham off to Michigan. There's a ton of noise around Jason Beck joining him. There's noise about Jay Hill, the BYU defensive coordinator, joining him. Who else from this Utah staff is going to go there? And this team plays a bowl game. Reminder, the Utah Utes play in the Las Vegas Bowl against Nebraska in a matter of days. It's going to be Morgan Scalley's opportunity to get his first win as head coach of Utah football. It's going to be fascinating to see how this all shakes out. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments. I know a lot of you are frustrated, especially that Witt is taking some of the staff members. I don't have an issue with it because he's done a ton for Utah, and I think he wants to take a little bit of that staff. I think that's fine. But I know a lot of you will disagree. So let's hear it in the comments below. And we'll be back with you guys soon, talk about more of the latest news, rumors, and reports surrounding Kyle Whittingham to Michigan. Thank you for making Locked On Utes your first listen and view of the day. We'll be back with you soon, talking more Witt to Michigan, college football, and Utah chaos.